Hello, CC of North Olmsted. We are here for week 16 science. We're going to do two different experiments. The first one is number 130 in your VanCleaves called stretch. And this purpose is to demonstrate the effect of tension force. We're going to talk about tension force in two different ideas, one with rubber balloons, and then you're going to relate it to the earth. We've already learned about the layers of the earth, so you could bring that memory work back in. Talk about how the ground moves and things like that. So if you want to start with this and then move to your discussion about the earth, that would probably be a natural way to do it. But you could ask them what is tension. You could talk about beforehand, how are landforms made? How do they look different? How can the ground move? How is the Earth's crust pieced together? And what would happen if they were pushed around, and would they retain their shape? So that will lead us to our experiment stretch. Our hypothesis is, what do you think would happen to the, well, I guess you gotta first do this. Your procedure is to draw a square on the deflated balloon with the Sharpie here, and then divide it into 3 sections, which I'm doing that right here, so it's just gonna look like that. Then use your marking pen to color 2 of the outer sections. And then you'll inflate the balloon. So here we go. We're going to observe the markings as we inflate. You can see that they've already distorted just a little bit. So it spreads out in all directions. And since we didn't inflate this very much, we'll go ahead and let the air out, and it returned to its original shape. So you can talk about that when the earth gets tension underneath and the plates move around, it can cause an earthquake. And there is a great conclusion paragraph for you to read through. I printed 2 of these, one for each box. This is from Nicole Liam on CC Connected, and she also had some great pictures of the Earth's crust to remind them of how it's all made, and then what a fault line is, different types of tension that's pulled on the Earth during she talks also in the conclusion about different types of stress that can be put on the Earth. So that would be a great thing for you to read through, especially if you have older kids. Okay, I also wanted to show you, we've got a ton of balloons, so every kid can do this, or you could just do it as a demonstration, however you'd like. You'll also have a bag with pencils and Sharpies for multiple kids to do it, or you could just have them take notes on those little handouts that we have. Thank you so much. We'll move on to 132. Okay, for number 132, called Spurt, we're going to be kind of taking a step further from the tension discussion and talking about magma and what happens when magma moves around inside the earth. There's a lot of vocabulary. We have words called magma, which you'll have to define. Dike and sill and laccolith are also in your VanCleaves book, all defined. Nicole Liam had also put this picture, so you could use that as a nice illustration as you explain that a dike is when magma goes up and then hardens. The sill is when magma moves horizontally in the Earth's crust. And then the, what is it called? The laccolith is when it bulges inside the crust, but it doesn't come up and out. So we're talking a lot about volcanoes. You could describe this. There's great questions to go along with that on the front of this again. Basically, you're going to take a tube of toothpaste, which each class has its own, so you can do with it as you will. I have not opened this one, and it moves around pretty easily. I almost wonder if we needed 6 of them. Maybe we could all take a tube of toothpaste home at the end of the day if you don't. But if you wanted to do it this way so they could see it too, that would be fine. If you wanted to put it into the baggie. I will have 6 baggies here for you to use also. But basically you're letting the kids take this and push it. And what happens when you push up? Well, all the toothpaste goes into any crevice that was already there. So now if we take it, now there's this crevice and we're going to push again. The magma toothpaste is filling in wherever there's a crevice. In the same way, when there's pressure, the magma will fill in the Earth's crust wherever there is a gap. And that creates either the dike or the sill or the, I can't remember, laccolith. So if you have any questions about that, please post about it. You could also tell them, it might be interesting, that there's this picture here of a hot spot where volcanoes are under the water and it creates warm water in hot spots. I got to go to Greece a few years ago and we swam in a volcano and there were warm hot spots around. It was kind of creepy when you stop to think about it, but we were in Santorini. So if you wanted, we talked about Greece, so bring geography into it, that would be very cool. So if you have any questions, please post about it. Thanks so much.